Why not semantics? When I was young, when you're young and in love, when I was a young little meerkat, a little meerkat young, I used to go to New York City a lot. I actually was born over there. Mm. And so I used to travel all the time, go to New York, visit my grandma's house. And one time, and this is a little antic for you. This is before you put, anybody comment on there, I'll feature you, this kind of thing. Fantastic. But before we get there, let's get to my antics, right? So anyway, I used to go to New York all the time. New York City, when you're in love. Anyway, visit my grandma's house. I'd visit, and my dad would live in New York City, but he'd go flying because he worked for Pan American Airlines. And so he'd travel, he'd fly around the world. And basically, my grandmother would keep me, in the summer times. So I'd travel over there in the big airplane in the sky. You know what I'm saying? But one day, and you're asking, did I ever get mugged? Well, the answer is yes. One day, I was about, must have been 16, this kind of thing. Landed, I'm over there in Times Square. I had gotten off the bus, I got off the plane in Kennedy Airport, and I got on one of the buses to take me downtown to my grandma's house. Grandma used to live on Broadway a long time ago before she went to heaven. But anyway, so I'm down there, New York City, downtown, big lights everywhere, and I'm used to it a little bit. But I'm getting off, I'm taking my luggage, getting off the bus, and then what happens? This big black dude, big black, and I'm black myself, but this big, huge monster of a guy. Anyway, he comes in, he's like, ooh, let me help you with your luggage, I'm like, no, that's okay, no, let me help you. And there's all sorts of them, because when you're getting off the bus, they're like, they're zeroing in on you, they're thinking, ooh, there's our next target, our next hit. So they're coming, and they see me there, and they're like, let me help you with that luggage. Anyway, I said, no way, Jose. And next thing you know, I'm hailing a taxi, and I get a taxi, and I'm like, taxi, and the taxi comes in. I'm jumping in the taxi, putting my luggage in there. Big black guy jumps behind me and jumps in the back seat with me. And now the big black guy is negotiating with me and the driver for a fare, right? And I'm thinking, okay, so I'm telling the driver how much, and the driver says, I'll take you to grandma's house for like $50 or whatever it was. And I said to him, $50, and the other guy jumped in, $50 is too much, that's incredible, let's go $40. And he's negotiating for me, and I'm thinking, why is this guy negotiating for me? Is he part of the taxi guy? Is he the taxi guy's helper? So I'm like, I got him down to $40. The guy gets him down to $40, I'm going to give the guy $40, and so I'm pulling money out of my pocket, and the guy takes the $40 from my hand, this big black guy is sitting next to me, and he stuffs it, and he says, well, wait a minute, no, we're going to need to change this, give me a 50, and I'll give you the 40 back, and then we'll give you the 10 back, this kind of thing. And so I'm like, oh, the 50, and so I'm reaching in my wallet, get a 50 out, give it to him, and then he's like, well, give me okay, so I got the 50 and the 40, that's not, give me 100 and I'll give you the 90 back. And so I'm pulling out stupidity. So I pull out the 100, give them the 100, and then he's planning on giving it to the taxi driver, but then he takes off, runs out the door, he's running down the door. And I'm thinking to myself, what the hell's going on? So I look at the taxi driver, and I'm like, what? Your partner took off with my money, $190. What's going on? And the taxi driver's like, I don't know. I thought he was with you. What's going on? I'm like, hey, the man stole $180, $190 out of my wallet. Well, you gave it to him. I'm like, are you kidding me? And so I run out of the taxi, and I see this black guy darting down the street. And I'm young. I'm not crippled. I'm young. And so I'm running after this guy. Remember, I'm 16. The other guy has to be like 25 at least. Really built, big black guy with bushy hair. Way bigger afro than mine. And so I'm running after him. He sees me. He looks back, running after him. And so he's thinking, well, I'm going to dart into one of these subway systems, right? So he darts in, and in New York City, the subway is not like anything else you understand. The subway is like its own city down there. There's levels. level after level. Now, the guy runs down the first level, and down the first level, that's fine. Everything's lit, and the subways are coming down, but the stairs keep going down. Second level, third level, fourth. When you get down to like the sixth level, seventh level, these stairs keep going down. The lights are no longer normal lights. They're flickering. It's like a nightmare show. It's like and it's dark everywhere. There's no people. And maybe there's going to be a subway pass by like once every 3 hours. That's it. Down there in the bottom catacombs of the subway system, there is no people. And if you see somebody, it might be a bum, a transient, and he might be pissing in the corner, which is what was happening here. So anyway, I'm darting down these subway stairs after my money. Hey, give me back my money, you know. And the guy is running. And he goes down further into the catacombs of the subway. Next thing you know, we're down into one of the lower levels of the subway where everything's flickering and the guy is running and I'm running after him, catching him. Give me back my money. And the guy stops. You know, hulk of a guy, burly guy, just muscly, big black shadowy guy, and turns around, looks at me with his eyeballs, you know, and he's like, then he starts approaching me. He looks at me, he's fiddling with something in his pocket. You know, I could kill you right here. This is my territory. This is my house. I could kill you right here. Nobody would be the better. Nobody would be the wiser for it. I could kill you and you're dead. And I said, hey man, I don't want any trouble. Hey, remember, it's a burly guy. But myself, 16, 16 going on 17, this kind of thing. All the adrenaline in the world and all the, the tenacity of a dumb 16-year-old. I'm down there and I'm like, hey, man, I get it. Listen, I understand where you're coming from. You took my money, but you earned it. That's fine. I understand. The guy's like, what? I earned it? Yeah, you earned it. You did a good job, man. That was a great swindle that you did there. A hustle. Man, you hustled me like the best of them. Woo! You're a hustler, man. Hi, congratulations. You know what I'm saying? But, okay, let me tell you what's going on here. I'm in New York City visiting my grandma, and the guy's listening to my story now. He's captivated because he's saying to himself, I'm a good hustler. Yeah, let's listen to this guy. And so I'm like, I'm visiting my grandma here. Okay, my grandma's got to be 100 years old. I'm here for 3 months, school vacation. And this money that you took from me, this money I have, my grandma's poor. We're poor. We live on Broadway. We're poor. I have this money to eat. I have this money for groceries, to pay rent. My grandma, what are you going to do? What are you going to do, man? I know I understand the hustle, but what are you going to do? You're going to let me starve here? You're going to let me starve and die, okay, because you took all my money. You're taking my money away from me? This is ridiculous, okay? Now, I live with my grandma. Grandma is on a fixed budget. She's getting this income that comes from the government, like a couple $100 a month, something like this. So, you got to be cool, man. Let's be cool. You earned it, right? This money. Now, to be fair, let's go halvesies, okay? It's cool. You earned it. Awesome hustle. But let's not leave me hungry for 3 months. Let's not let me starve in my grandma. That's ridiculous, okay? You got a grandma too. You know what I'm talking about. How about we do this? You give me half the money, and then you take the other half. You earn that, and we'll split it, and we'll part ways, And the guy's like, yeah. I mean, that's fair. You hustled me, and you did a fantastic hustle, but let's split it, okay? He's like, well, okay. Well, come on, man. You're not gonna let me starve. Well, okay. So crazy. Talk the guy into it. So the guy has my money, right? So he's taking out my money, and he's looking at it. And then he gives me the 50, and then he's like looking at the other money. And then he's like, well, wait a minute. How are we going to split this? You gave me the 50. Oh, here comes my food. I'm so excited about it. Taco night. Oh, thank you so much. Is there seconds on this?
No.
There's no seconds?
Maybe.
Is there salsa? Extra salsa? Anyway, so the guy comes. And then the guy gives me the 50, right? And so he's got another 100, and he's got 40 more. And so he's like, he's like, well, here's a 20. So and then the 100, huh? And then he doesn't know what he's doing. So he puts it in the wall. I put it in my wallet, and I'm like, well, and he's like, I don't have change for this. And I open up my wallet, and I'm like, well, here, I got it. And then he's like looking at my wallet. Whoa, what do you got there? Now, my wallet is stocked with bills, okay? Stocked. Because, again, I'm going to Grandma's house, and I'm going to Grandma's house for 3 months. So, obviously, my mom has given me a lot of hundreds, a lot of money to live, to survive for 3 months, right? You get what I'm saying? So, I probably got $500 in my wallet. The guy's like, whoa, what's in there? And he jumps on my wallet and looking inside, and I say, whoa. Remember, man, that's for me. That's for surviving. Now, wait a minute. And I pull out the 50, and he was handing me he had handed me the 100 already. So I pull out the 50 and I give him the 50, and I'm like, here's your change, and I'm like, thanks. And I walk away. And the guy's sitting there thinking about what's happened. So anyway, I got mugged, talked the guy into splitting the money with him, and when he didn't have change, I gave him the change. It's like, thank you for mugging me, and here's your change. And validation with that, by the way. You want a validation with that mugging? The food comes at the ideal time. You get it? That's the punchline. It really happened. I'm not pulling your leg. This really happened to me. Anyway,